Okay. So, actually, I guess last week was technically the
Now I
intro.
can't hear.
Is that so that you can put this back on your website so we can watch it again?
Yes. Can you hear
Okay.
me okay?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's better.
Yeah.
Okay.
So last week was technically the introduction. And so this is week 1, and week 1 is on abundance. And so this is for Mary Kay's program called And Then Some. So I'm going to read this, and then we're going to listen to the video, and then we'll do the discussing questions after. So somebody remind me to turn off the recording when we get to the discussion questions. Okay, so a vision of greatness. If the grown-up you of today had the opportunity to talk to the child you used to be, would you want to do it? If you could sit down and look into the eyes of the child you were, would those eyes look back at the adult you have become with pride and joy? Or would they look back at you with a sense of sadness and loss? After all, the child you used to be had no problem dreaming big dreams for your future. As far as she was concerned, you were certainly qualified to become the first woman president of the United States or Canada, or an astronaut flying to Mars. Nothing was too good or too hard for the child you used to be to achieve. She believed in you completely, without fail and without pause. The world was yours to explore, to celebrate, and to claim. She knew you could do it. So, are you doing it? Why is it that when we grow up, we leave behind in our childhood the ability to dream Why?
I thought that was on my screen for a minute.
Why is it that when we grow up, we leave behind in our childhood the ability to dream unabashedly? Dreaming is just as essential to life as oxygen. When we stop dreaming big, crazy, wonderful plans for our lives, we begin to think small. And in that smallness, complacency is born. And in that complacency, scarcity and limitations dwell. And where scarcity and limitations dwell, fear breeds and lives are held captive. You simply feel you're going through the motions of your life. You are stuck and simply settling. But even in the most challenging times, abundant thinking can be a lifesaver. Abundant thinking keeps us focused on the possibilities, not the limitations. And in order to stay focused on possibilities, our internal words should match that mindset. Words such as I can't or I'll try leave room for excuses and low expectations. But words such as I can and I will set the stage for achievement, accomplishment, and abundant thinking. And what we think about, we bring about. So, are you dreaming? Are you thinking big, abundant thoughts for your life? And if not, what's it going to take to get you passionate about your life again? If you could change your thinking and speech to focus on positive outcomes and possibilities, knowing it could change your life, would you be willing to give up your old mode of thinking in order to live a life of abundance? And abundance doesn't necessarily equate to material goods. Abundance like good health, a happy family, self-confidence, friends who admire you, a work you enjoy, and a sense of peace at the end of each day are dreams worthy of attaining. If this is the life you've dreamed for yourself, is this the life you have achieved? To design an abundant vision for your life, let's start at the beginning. Let's listen. Before starting the journaling activities and the challenges for the remainder of the week, please listen to track 3, You Are Worthy of Abundance, of the And Then Some CD, and simply let the words of top independent national sales directors inspire and inform you. So I'm going to turn that on. And if you happen to be watching the recording for this, I'm going to, I'll include a copy of the journaling questions.
As a Mary Kay independent sales.
I just have to see if this is the right.
Success is not a selfish objective.
That was last week. Can you hear okay?
Several credible independent national sales directors came to Dallas for a girlfriends only conversation about the power of abundance thinking.
Now?
Let's join them at the table as they share from the heart, both lessons and reflections from their Mary Kay journeys. The voices you'll be hearing from, in the order of their appearance on the recording, belong to Independent Senior National Sales Director Julianne Nagel, Independent National Sales Director Devan Mao, Independent Senior National Sales Director Kathy Halou, Independent National Sales Director Pam Tull, Independent Executive National Sales Director Gloria Mayfield Banks, and Independent National Sales Director Judy Kowicki.
When you say close your eyes and think of an abundant person, I think of somebody that absolutely sees no walls. There are no boundaries to what she sees, no ceiling, no walls. And I think when other people look at it and say, this can't be done, that abundant thinker looks and says, why can't it be done? And how can it be done? And they look at all possibilities. And so they don't see those parameters. They don't see those walls. They see beyond that. And they're able to find the way to make it happen. And I think people that don't have that abundance mentality, they see the why it can't happen and the problems. And that becomes so large that creates those walls and boxes then, and their dreams become smaller and smaller.
You hear a lot and you read a lot about being a woman of great substance. And I think that having an abundance mentality gives you some new substance to draw strength from. I think that it's very possible to have abundance mentality before you have abundance of anything else. And by believing and dreaming, you can create then the skills to create abundance of time, create abundance of, financial wealth, and maybe abundance in self-esteem and self-confidence. In the beginning, you may not have any, but through time, you can create that mentality by believing it first.
There's a lot of work attached to abundant thinking. And there's a lot of responsibility, and a lot of people aren't ready for that, or not geared up for that, or just unwilling, to change, unwilling to step up to the plate, unwilling to do what is necessary to follow through on the actions of an abundant thinker. It's all consuming sometimes.
There's a price tag attached to abundant thinking.
There's people that want it, but they're not willing to do what it takes to get there. I think a lot of people, it's the way they've been raised. It's their background. They've been told since they were a little child, and that said, I think that's what's different about this Mary Kay generation, our kids. Wow, just how fortunate and grateful we are that they've grown up with the big girlfriends, the big thinkers.
I also think from success standpoint, are people afraid of having success? You hear that a lot of times, but I know from my perspective, coming from where I did mentally, I think that I thought, what if I gain that? What if I lose it? I could lose it. Then people will have seen that I had that, and then I didn't have that. People are going to think this is a fluke. People are going to think that this was a freaky thing that it happened, and that I can't maintain that level of success. And simply by thinking and talking about that they can't maintain that level of success.
Especially when you're doing things for other people's approval. And I think in order to be a woman of substance and to have that abundance mentality, you have to do it for the approval of yourself and less the approval of others. That when you're continuing to work for the kudos and for the attention instead of within a purpose deeper than that, then I think it can really be, you can find a place to stop very, very quickly because they quit giving you that attention very quickly.
Now, I want to say too, when you talk about things that stop women from abundance, it's many times the role models that they lack. The things that we see on TV, in print, being an African American, there's a lack of the many people that are successful. And in this environment where we spend so much time talking about the bad things that are going on in the world versus the good things that are going on in the world, a person with abundance mentality will seek out role models. If you don't know to seek them out, many times you'll miss the opportunity to see people that are in front of you.
I think that one thing you would find in common with all of us is that we immersed ourselves in that and attended everything and lived on CDs and tapes. And the majority of people get the spoonfuls, where the difference was that we just chose to be immersed with all those mentors and role models. And I would recognize, I always think it's interesting in the candlelight closing at seminar, I can recognize in the dark every one of those people because their voices made such a difference for me and helped me faster, you know, you only have so much space up here, and you have to replace the negative things from your past with the positive. And an abundant person just makes it a point to replace those negative things with a full head full of positive instead of just little dribs and drabs of it.
And I think when you ask what part does abundance mentality play in our Mary Kay business, I think it plays a critical role in every part, whether it's a brand new consultant to a national sales director. I mean, these women sitting around this table instill dreams in me that I get excited as a national sales director to go further to a different plane and a different level.
The other thing, if you don't have an abundance mentality, any obstacle will shut you down. You have to be abundant in your thinking so that you could hurdle over when your purpose is greater than your problems. You'll continue on and you'll develop perseverance. You'll birth the D twins, determination and discipline, but without an abundant mentality, you will not. You will shut down at every little single challenge and obstacle that comes your way because it's just easier because you're not thinking beyond circumstances right now, the present. And I think that's huge.
You know that the people who have climbed the hardest and had a major abundance have been examples of living through drama and carrying forward anyway. And so because we are in such a position to see people who operate in abundance, don't operate in abundance, and people who lead with abundance and people who lead without abundance, when you say how important is abundance to success, it's big to success. You can do Mary Kay without the abundance, but that's all you're doing is doing Mary Kay. You're not living the Mary Kay dream.
Okay. So I'm just going to quickly share my screen. Oh, this is what I want. So these, I'm just kind of leaving that there for a second. So if anybody is watching this after, those are the questions. And let me know what you think. Okay, so I need to stop. Need to bring me back to the recording. Stop. There we go.